Black Flare is also good at the Slime Foot and Squee.
Yeah, Arena of Glory is also the land that appears a lot.
We've seen it last game on Aragorn side 2 times.
Yeah.
So Modern Horizons 3.
Yeah, what a set, am I right? Yeah. Okay, now we will slowly get our next deck, and we saw from production that we are going to see Satya and Muxus.
Goblin Grandee.
Yeah, now the Goblin deck is very interesting, but we haven't mentioned Satya. We have 4 of them here. Now, let's just quickly take a look at what does the deck do.
If you want to play Jeskai colors and you don't want to play Aragorn, you don't want to get to the most of the decks that are being played in the dual commander, you pick Satya, which is something that is more aggressive, more creature based, but it doesn't mean it doesn't have the responses. It doesn't have interaction, but the interaction is stick to the creatures. So if you are copying it with the Satya's ability on the attack, you are getting more and more value.
And Satya just gives you so much value when it comes to attack. It's a crazy deck. It actually can really hold its punch. And when it comes to your options, it sounds like Jeskai could be a control, sort of a control deck, right? But you have a lot of aggressive cards you can abuse.
Yeah. It can be really something like tempo, I guess. But on the other hand, there is Muxus Goblin Grandee, which is interesting. If you are interested in going a little Goblin Casino, the Muxus is the deck for you, because if you resolve it, the question is, what is in the top cards that you are going to reveal?
Just important to say, there used to be some cards that were quite nice to play in Muxus. Nowadays, you can't even play the cards that allowed you, back in the day, that allowed you to, play cards that are not really magic cards. I don't want to be mean to unsets, but the blank goblin, or I love to call him Mind Goblin, because the jokes are just easy to do, but the no-name goblin, it was just too strong sometimes. Ooh, and we've got a first goblin. That's the new one from Tarkir Dragonstorm.
The goblins are already mobilizing.
Yeah, that's the one that mobilizes. And I think it can Voice of Victory.
And speaking of Tarkir Dragonstorm, the Voice of Victory.
Voice of Victory. I honestly love the card. It is a nice, aggressive thing. And in Satya, it does allow you to actually do a lot of nice stuff.
Do a lot of nice stuff without being interrupted by your opponent.
Yeah, although it doesn't trigger the mobilize twice.
Yeah, it doesn't, but
still good enough.
You are just making this as an insurance to really pop off. And the Voice of Victory wants to take some duel with the Stadium Headliner.
Okay, now we can see a nice tapped attacking Red Warrior Squirrel.
It's a goblin in a squirrel coat.
Now there was a block, interesting enough. Yeah. Let's see what happens then. And there is some sort of...
And this is the channel ability from that Kamigawa goblin dealing with the Voice of Victory.
Yeah. Which is important to deal with the Voice of Victory.
Yeah. So the warrior in a squirrel coat is going away.
Yeah.
But the Muxus got
now there is a brainstorm
of that Voice of Victory.
Yeah, that's the one. Okay,
the thing that really worries me is that you've played only 2 mountains. No ramp spells. Because there are the famous lands that can tap for 2 mana.
Right. Your task is to get to Muxus as soon as possible.
So you have like the rituals. Especially, I'm not familiar with the name, but you will know the 4 mana that gives you 7 mana for a single spell.
I think that's the Iron Crag something. Iron Crag something, yeah. That's the 4 mana give you 7, yeah.
Yeah, so right now, 3 mana. The goblins just want to smack the Muxus on the battlefield as quick as possible, and if the cards on the top are good enough, you can just finish in a single turn.
But it's not just blind belief. You can set up the things. There are ways to set up the top of your deck via some very old goblins that just allow you to set up the top with goblins, and then
have you heard of the card Goblin Recruiter?
That is a nice one. That really helps to set it up. Now let's see what happens on side of Vojtěch.
Ooh.
Now there is a goblin, probably. For our viewers at home, if we find out what it is, we will let you know. But it looks, my educated guess, it's a goblin. What do you
It's
think?
a goblin.
We have it.
And
Okay.
it's the Dropkick Bomber.
Dropkick Bomber, a new card from the Foundations.
It drops on the battlefield and kicks your opponent.
Yeah, it can kick it so that it gains flying for basically a turn. That's a goblin way of flying.
Yeah.
You do fly.
But there is the defender for the
Malcolm.
flying battlefield on the side of Satya, and it is Malcolm, Alluring Scoundrel.
So there will be a lot of options for Jiří on the other side. Actually, Jiří should be at 19 if I'm counting correctly, because there was the mobilize trigger. I hope that they will update it for us soon.
Yeah,
Regardless, remember that he is at 19.
Right now, the Satya can come in. And the thing is that even if you don't have much going on in your hand, you still apply a really amount of pressure because it's 3/5 haste and menace creature that can go around. But the Malcolm is going on.
Stifle is going away. Okay.
Which is interesting.
There is
I don't
probably a lot of
understand
interaction.
what is in the hand, because if the Muxus goes on, you can just stifle that triggered ability that goes out of him.
You're right. It is an option, but there might be the case that, maybe Jiří just has a straight up counter spell. If you take away Stifle, it means you've got something even better.
But the problem with countering the Muxus is that he's going to cheat mana in another way, and that tax he's about to pay is not that much going on. If you stifle the effect on the Muxus, he's staying on the battlefield.
That's
and
true.
There won't be that ability resolving.
Yeah, and how do you blink it? Right, in a goblin.
You are mono-red goblins.
It's probably not going to be the case. Well, you can just fling it by the Dropkick Bomber.
So there's another, probably goblin, but I think it's the goblin matron, the pro.
It looks like a 1-mana goblin, and there
It's
is
1 mana.
a man from misstep. Okay, so we
So
don't
have to worry about what it is.
It could have been Mock Fanatic, it could have been something else. We don't
Mock
have to
Fanatic, I think it was.
It's a DCI promo, and there is the defense grid.
But the voice of victory was some insurance. You don't interrupt me in my in my turn, and the defense grid does the same, but for the other side of our match.
Well, you can interact. It's just very pricey.
Very, very pricey.
Now, there will probably be an interaction from Jiří. It looks like it's the Qatar Commando, maybe.
It looks really shiny.
I just saw a glimpse of it. It might be Qatar Commando, which is a card that can
the glimpse of Qatar Commando. It's the.
It sounds like
Schrödinger's Qatar Commando.
It sounds like a nice song. A glimpse of Qatar Commando.
Yeah, a glimpse, or a fable.
Yeah. Okay. There is the surveillance. We'll see. And you're right about the Schrödinger's Qatar Commando. We still don't know, but it might have been played in response.
Might.
Just to get around the defense grid, and then Jiří can just activate it.
Some other flash card that just wants to go around the defense grid.
We will see. But it was 2 mana, definitely.
Because you wanted that surveil going on, so you didn't want to spend all of your mana.
Yeah. Okay. There was nothing.
The interesting thing I'm worried about is that the Malcolm got through once, and there are no chorus counters on.
I think the chorus counters just exist. They exist virtually.
Virtually. There are Schrödinger's counters.
No, you just need to remember.
You're Satya, you're playing Schrödinger's counters, Schrödinger's creatures.
Yeah, you don't even notice you get hit via the mobilize token.
Yes.
Yeah, the sloppiness can sometimes happen.
And there's the Satya. We are people. Now, there might be the case. That's why maybe if it's Qatar Commando, it's
there might
pretty
be the
aggressive
option,
Qatar Commando.
And you can actually copy it and sacrifice the copy after damage is done. Which might be the case here.
But there's still the Dropkick Bomber.
It was Qatar Commando. I just saw another glimpse of it.
Another glimpse, yeah.
Yes.
When there is the shade from the hand of the Jiří, you can see that there are a parts of Qatar Commando.
Now it gets the first score.
This is interesting. If the Qatar Commando is attacking or not. Because if it's not attacking,
And
You protect it from that dropkick bomber.
it's true, although, by the way, I can see Force of Will in Jiří's hand, which is another option to deal with
Yeah, but the
Muxus.
force of will isn't going to protect your Qatar commando, original Qatar
It's
commando
true,
against blocker.
But
if-
I believe you really want to destroy the defense grid now.
Yes,
Because the Force of Will doesn't work really if there is the defense grid.
yes. So I think there is going to be the damage taken.
Absolutely. We will
And
see what
8
is
is
done.
a lot. Let's face
Yeah,
it.
that's a lot of damage. Let's be real. Like Vojtěch could be that's a lot of
That's
damage.
a lot of damage.
It can actually Vojtěch could be dead next turn potentially.
Could.
Yeah, could. Okay, now they recorrected the chorus counters.
And now
on
I
track.
understand the stifle because you had everything. You had the stifle effect and the counter effect for the Muxus.
Okay, so
in
usually
your
just
hand.
spend the 2 energy to keep the Qatar commando around. Although he
Just
did,
to build the army. He has the
didn't-
time.
yeah.
He doesn't have to get rid of the defense grid just now.
True.
He just can
Ramming up ruins.
create bigger board than the goblins can create.
Yeah,
and
I don't really know what Vojtěch can have to really like manage.
as I mentioned, the first 2 turns there wasn't really the mana acceleration going on,
Sure.
which was
sure.
kind of issue for the Muxus.
And you can see now that Vojtěch is under a lot of pressure. There is Force of Will in Jiří's hand, maybe with a blue card, I believe at least. And I don't know what can be done.
So
okay, Pyretic
let's
Ritual.
see if there is something.
Pyretic Ritual
If
being played to
somebody
gain
can
more
do
mana.
something with it, it's Muxus.
And Muxus. Now, defense grid is going to
Yeah,
be destroyed, and
and
there
the
is the
Force of
Force
Will.
of Will. Oh my. Yeah, that was the plan, right?
The Satya had everything prepared.
Oh, we should put away the defense grid? Yes. Okay. Well, now you can see that Vojtěch basically just lost all.
For cost of 2 life
Yeah,
and 1 mana,
it's brutal.
you destroyed your opponent's game plan.
And there is only a 2-3 to defend.
Yeah.
And there's just gonna be a swing. Another
I think
Qatar
the next.
commando.
I think we can say this is pretty much going to be the end of Vojtěch Kotek.
Most likely.
Most likely.
There is a requirement to block actually because it's too much.
Too much pressure
6,
going
7,
on.
8, 9,
And
10.
you are
It's
going
11
And
damage.
you are going to block the original Qatar commando
Sure.
just to make sure no copies are gonna be created.
Yeah, there is another trigger on Malcolm.
Yes.
Land's going away.
And the final trigger is really approaching.
Yeah.
It's something like Spy, but casting big spells
But
for free.
if I'm counting correctly, Vojtěch should be down to 2 life.
Yes.
Which I don't know what can be done.
Like going land, going that Iron Crack something, I think you could have probably
Nah,
enough mana,
it's
but
game.
it's not
It's
there.
game.
So this time, the Vojtěch, which has a really nice nickname in
Yeah.
our community, he's called Tuk Tuk.
That's a nice one,
And
but
the-
he did not took the win.
Yeah, he did not Tuk Tuk the win. Are you familiar with the original Tuk Tuk card?
Not really. I know what a tuk-tuk is. It's a vehicle, right? It's like common in like Asia, I think. But I don't know what a tuk-tuk card is.
The Tuk Tuk card in MTG, I think the first time it has been printed in original Zendikar block,
Okay.
and it's the Tuk Tuk card with the goblin that has something like a torch and walks with you like a guide through the dungeons.
Okay, sure.
It's not pretty good card,
All right. You mean
but
is
it's
it
pretty good nickname.
okay?
Nobody is nicknamed after one of the most famous goblin. Yes, this is
That's
the
the
Tuk
one.
Tuk the Explorer.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
It's been reprinted,
Cool. Looks interesting, but the name is nice.
but the name is nice.
Yeah, actually, I wanted to give you a little bit of context for Jiří, our Satya player.
Okay.
Just a little bit of information because I know what was Jiří doing 2 months ago.
Okay.
As he partook in the Spotlight Series Modern in Utrecht. How do I know we played? And how do I know? Well, I beat him. I'm sorry. Sorry, Jiří, but I hope you at least got some nice rewards there. I did not qualify to top 8 or anything there, but I think we played like round 10 in day 2 together or round 11. So yeah, I do remember Jiří, and it might work together with the way that sometimes it was a little bit sloppy with the counters and stuff. I do
Alright.
remember that pattern from before. Which it happens, you know. We are people. That's quite.
What a
normal.
beautiful coincidence, because
Yes.
you know one player, I know the other,
True,
so we can
true.
give you some kind of context. This doesn't happen that much.
Does that mean you're rooting for Vojtěch,
Well,
the tuk-tuk?
I must say I'm a little biased because I haven't been playing the goblins, I haven't been playing the Muxus Grandi, but I've been playing the Monoret for like 2 years in Dual Commander. Yes, I'm guilty. Somebody might consider it a crime, and I'm guilty of being the Monoret player. But when I was getting to Magic,
Yeah.
like I guess it was around 13 or 12 years ago, my first deck I've ever built was goblins.
That's great.
So-
Okay, so you're probably Vojtěch is the guy I would like to see.
I would be
succeed.
happy. I don't need to see like the win, but I want to see the Muxus resolved and getting some
Yeah.
those one punch.
It's usually
Yes.
nice to see the deck do its thing,
Yes.
right? Even as we saw with flops
Yes,
last game.
I
You want to
to
see the
mention
thing.
it.
By the way, Vojtěch, it looks like they kept the
Seven.
hand of 7, and Jiří was
On the play.
taking
Mulligan.
a mulligan on the draw, which is still kind of okay. In a 3-color deck, it's usually needed. It happens quite often.
Yeah. So it means we have a little bit of time, as you can see on the screen. If you have extra time, just stock up
Yeah.
with our sponsors.
It's
being
absolutely a great idea.
Card Market, X-Zone, Ultimate Guard, Černý rytíř, Najada, Doby Trading. They provide
And
the
with
cards.
half of them, you can even buy stock up.
Yeah.
Which I'm not sure if I would suggest. The card is very pricey nowadays.
But it's very pricey because it's very good.
yeah, you should stock up on stock up. 100%.
So it seems like the Jiří Obraz is getting the 6th hand.
Yeah, looks like
one
deciding
card.
on the card.
Yeah. It wasn't that one.
Yeah, he's going the other way around. Like, which one do I keep?
Yeah. There are 2 approaches to how you want to mulligan.
I don't know which way I prefer, honestly. You should know which one you don't need.
Yeah.
But in
But
singleton
you should
format,
know
yeah.
which you want.
True. Okay, decision has been made, and Vojtěch. There is the blood moon. Yeah.
And I also
I wasn't sure
I
why
think
it
I've
was on
seen
the
one of
screen.
the best goblins for the deck, which is the Chirurgeon, the goblin that can regenerate your other goblins.
Okay, mountains coming in tapped is a great sign of just
Seems
going in the red zone.
Is it going to be
Goblin Surgeon.
Nope,
It's
it's
the Goblin Lackey.
the Goblin Lackey?
It's a new edition. It's a nice one. You can just cash it in
this
for
goblin
treasure.
also strikes first.
True.
Not
And
not Lackey. It's the
It's that.
it's
It's the one from Outlaws
For Outlaws.
Thunder Junction.
We
but
can
it's
tell
not,
you-
It's not important. It's
Yeah.
that already.
the both goblins we've mentioned would be better one drops. This one just wanted to.
But yeah,
do
Lackey
one
is a
damage.
crazy one drop. Let's see what
But-
happens.
The 2. We are on the 2 going. With one of the best goblins.
Suspicious Snoop.
Conspicuous.
Conspicuous. Well, it is quite suspicious as well.
And still no basic lands.
True.
And tapped mana. You are just
Ooh,
removing goblin
one
after
by
goblin.
one. Let's see
And that's good.
if the Blood Moon is just going to
Yeah.
be the game. There is the Blood Moon, and there is just it resolves.
Yeah.
Let's see what there is a basic land. Fable?
It could be you have the red mana.
Fable of the
you
Mirror
have the
Breaker,
goblin
yes.
shaman. So you will probably get the treasure, and the blood moon situation is not
Which
going to affect you
Actually
that much.
mean next turn there could be the
Nice blood moon, nice mountain.
Yeah, that's a nice mountain, absolutely. A lot of mountains on both sides.
This is one of the goblins that
That's
can
the
provide
battle
haste,
cry goblin.
and this is the Chirurgeon, as I was speaking.
Yeah, the first one just helps.
This is nice. You can just sacrifice a goblin to regenerate some
Yeah,
creature.
Battle Cry Goblin is quite nice because it can provide haste, which is very helpful
And
when
it
you
can-
just vomit out all the goblins.
And it also can provide meat for the goblin Chirurgeon.
True. Yeah, with the pack tactic ability that came out with the D&D set.
But I'm really worried about the Muxus being in unfavorable matchup for him
In this
because
case, yeah.
because I've played against Satya with many decks many times, and this deck is famous not for only having the creatures that create the aggression,
Yeah.
but also for having one of the best answers, best removal spells, best counter spells. We've seen it the last game,
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
the mana is also developing on both sides evenly,
Yeah.
which is something Muxus doesn't like.
Actually, two things went very badly for Vojtěch, and that's the fact that Jiří already had a basic land in hand,
Yeah.
and then Jiří was able to just have Fable, which means there can actually be a 3-colored spell.
There is one treasure. The question is how much you worry about the Goblin Shaman sticking around,
I think
because you need to assert some kind of dominance. You are the one playing goblins, and the opponent getting one. That's
It's
crazy.
true. There can be only one person with
Yes.
goblins. True.
But the Kyrgyz sticked around.
I think honestly, I think that the treasures are more important, but I get your theory as well.
Yes.
Okay, there is Squee Dubious Monarch, which is another aggressive goblin.
Yeah. And as you can see, you can get Monarch into play and don't need to play Aragorn.
True, but you don't become a monarch. He is the monarch. He
He
doesn't
is.
share it.
And he can be returning from the game graveyard as much as you can.
Absolutely.
And the good thing is that the Squee can be protected multiple times because of that Kyrgyz.
Ooh, there is the enduring
Curiosity.
curiosity. Just coming to destroy the thing.
But the thing is, Squee is not going to. Oh, it's not going.
Pyroblast. Oh my. Okay,
This
and that's a
play
scoop.
was a blast. And
That's just a pyroblast into scoop. Okay,
Nice.
that is interesting. I think that Jiří just had enough of, red interaction, blood moon, pyroblast.
yeah,
Yeah.
this could have been like his last result, going through Enduring Curiosity.
Could be.
And the Blood Moon could be really nasty because you couldn't get the white mana. You had to use the treasure just to play the Enduring Curiosity,
Yeah.
and it being countered could take off every card
It's
you
true.
could play.
Any white card was just off. Anything that required more than just one blue
And
was
the
just off.
thing why the Squee with the Kyrgyz is really nasty is that the goblin that's going out from the Squee on the attack could be sacrificed immediately just to
Yeah.
regenerate every single goblin you want to protect.
It's true. It's true. It does provide a lot of value together, and it's also just ramping pressure, right? You
Yes.
just get more and more goblins. And honestly, we would have just seen Muxus next turn probably from Vojtěch.
Yeah, that's really weird because 2 games already finished.
True.
We are like 20 minutes into the whole.
We have a lot of time.
whole
That's
round, so
absolutely
we have
true.
a lot of time.
Which means we will probably have a time for interview.
Probably, and if, from my perspective, if we are lucky, we're going to interview the Muxus Goblin Grandee.
That will depend on the results,
That will depend.
but we shall see. We shall
Just
see.
to remind you, the winner of this game is going to pick from the Mystery Booster or Mystery Sack.
The mystery sack. I love
Mystery
that.
Sack. So, and also, if we have enough time, there is going to be the interview with the winner.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I would love to just see Vojtěch's perspective on the deck. You said that Tuk Tuk, Vojtěch,
Yes.
has been playing the deck for quite some time.
When he appears, he plays some kind of goblins deck.
Sure.
He is Tuk Tuk. He is known for being some kind of goblin,
Yeah.
but the question is which goblin deck he plays. Sometimes it's even the Rakdos one, the Grenzo,
Ah, all right.
that wants to cheat some good stuff from the
the
bottom
bottom,
of this
yeah.
library. But right now, it was cheating from the top side of the library.
True. So just switching sides of the library. Now he did not took his opening hand, so we will take a look at his 6, and it
It
looks
really
like Jiří
seems
kept.
as you are building a haiku. He didn't tuk, so he can take a look. Haha.
True. Haikus don't. Yeah, I think that if
They
when you
don't have to
yeah, they
rhyme,
don't
but-
have to rhyme, right? Doesn't matter. Now we will see how well can actually Jiří manage this deck, because even though it's a mono red,
Yeah.
there has been a lot of interaction. The Blood Moon is a great disruption
Yeah.
spell. The
Defense grid.
the defense grid is just fantastic.
Pyroblast.
The Pyroblast was crazy in this case. There is, when it comes to mono red, you don't really expect this kind of thing.
Yeah, but this is a kind of, I would say, weird monoreg in
Sure.
case it's not having the balls and the aggressive creatures that are not goblins.
True.
This is just the big goblin tribal.
True. Because the main win con is not just, killing them with bolts and cheap creatures, but the main win con is to resolve Muxus and then do the same.
The thing you want to have is as many goblins that can provide haste immediately.
Yeah.
Because when they are put on the table from the Muxus ability, they are going to pump the whole goblin squad.
Absolutely.
Takes.
You don't want to allow your opponent to just have a wrath effect.
Yes. It's something like a goblin police.
A goblin police? You mean that Jiří is now playing goblin police deck? Ooh, there is Gemstone Caverns as an opening.
I'm very happy because the last 2 games we haven't seen much of the mana cheating stuff from the side of
This is a great ramp. Yeah. And just Marsh Flats, sorry, that's the Bloodstained Mire.
Bloodstained Mire.
Just been put away.
So you don't, it seems that you have enough lands.
Okay,
suspicious. This is good. Suspiciously conspicuous.
True. Conspicuously suspicious.
But it's
being removed.
It's been discharged.
Yeah. Right away. And there is 1 energy still left, which is quite important for Satya.
In this deck specifically, the energy matters.
Yes.
In most of the decks, it does not.
Absolutely. Now maybe we will see the same approach as we saw in the first game, which is just Jiří trying to interact in the early game and then just turning the corner.
I just think that this removal was kind of crucial because the expectation of the match from the Tuk from the Vojtěch could be I will play the Conspicuous Snoop and probably play some goblins from the top of my library just to get to the good stuff.
Sure. And it's just value, right?
And with the Conspicuous Snoop removed, this is not going on right now, so you depend on the top decks and on the few cards that you've kept in your hand.
Absolutely. Also, don't forget that Vojtěch passed their second turn with just 3 mana open.
Yeah.
There is the Giver of Runes, which means there are probably going to be some creatures coming maybe next turn.
And also the planes. Right now, you are and the Scalding Tarn. So at this board state, you are Blood Moon proof.
Absolutely. And I think that Jiří learned his lesson last turn, not to get completely destroyed by Blood Moon. Yeah, playing around Blood Moon is something you have to learn only a couple of times.
Yes.
And it can really get you. Now, we did not even get to the Urza Saga thing with that, but we might.
We might.
Today we might.
As you can see, the Blood Moons are in here, and we can assure you that the Urza Sagas are here
100%.
also.
100%. I know that some decks don't really like it, that's true. Like multicolor, like Atraxa, for example, is not really a big fan of it.
Yeah.
But if you're playing like 2 colors, or if you're playing Shuko or something, you really need that.
Or there's the Shieldred deck, and you can get the Expedition map to get
That's
half
true.
of your land combo.
You can find the coffers.
Yeah,
it's
you
true.
can find the coffers. So it
Another
helps.
pass. What is Vojtěch cooking in there? Must be something really gassy.
The question is he cooking or is he getting cooked?
That is the question of the day. Now, Jiří chose not to go with the, let's say, more safe play of getting...
Yeah, he wants to improve his hand, probably.
Yeah. True. The draws can be improved much better, and because there was no Blood Moon, there was no need to get an island from the deck. So we will see what is Jiří going to do.
And I guess I've seen the Brainstorm in his hand.
True. So there might be... Okay, chose not
the
to.
top card is good, probably.
Oh, he kept it. Okay, Steam Vans going down to 18, 4 mana
and the
for
Satya.
Satya.
This is good because if you get the copy of Giver,
Yeah.
The issue with the Giver of Runes, with known as Daughter, is because you know who's the mother, who's the real mother right
Absolutely.
now. The problem with Giver is that it can it cannot give the protection from the color to itself.
True.
But if you are creating a copy,
you can just do it, among themselves. Absolutely. City of Traitors and
this
Muxus.
is and
Force of
again.
Will again. Okay, so Muxus is gonna stay in the command zone.
So City of Traitors, there was a betrayal.
Now it's problematic because, Vojtěch can't even ramp because City of Traitors will just get sacrificed.
Yes.
Okay, another attack with Satya, not leaving behind both daughters, as you
Yes.
said, and once again attacking and ramping on energy actually.
Creating an army of giver of runes
Yes,
is pretty good.
because basically anything on Jiří's side has double protection now,
Yes.
or 2 instances of protection.
Ooh. This is
That
right.
looks like the Rite of
Flame.
Flames. So it's 2 more mana. Yeah,
Yes.
more
Yes.
mana,
And you are getting it.
just
You are
Muxus.
going again, and I think it's been miscalculated.
Yeah, miscalculation. So
Yes.
that's the pay up 1.
Pay 2.
Pay 2,
unless
right.
countered.
True.
And
true,
it
true.
also has the cycling
and
the
Failure
Failure
as
being.
well. Yeah, we can see that Jiří is really ramping up the board state.
Well,
I don't know if Vojtěch has another way out of this, because now Muxus costs 8.
the Muxus right now costs, I guess, 10 mana.
8? No, it costs 6. Right, now it's 10. And City of Traitors is gone, so I don't know what can be
Even
done
though
here.
if you would have something like that Iron Crack spell we've been mentioning,
True.
and you get something like Land Drop, that's not enough.
I don't believe. And
That's 9.
and it's also just a blind top 6, right?
Which can win the game out of the spot, let's be clear.
Yeah.
But in this case, having Army of Givers, having Failure, and having, this is, I guess it's a Kellan.
Could be.
No, it's the discard to draw to, you know, that.
That's a new one?
No. The monored has been printed in Modern Horizons 1.
Seasoned Pyromancer.
Seasoned Pyromancer,
You're
yes.
thinking. Okay, it could be Seasoned Pyromancer.
It is. I've seen it, and
Okay, sure.
because it was the last card, and the Satya player just drawn 2.
Yeah,
It's-
true.
It's it.
Now, actually, remember the fact that with 3 givers, there is basically no need to even block, because Jiří can just give his creatures protection from red, and everything passes through.
Yes.
And you know, Failure blinks and other
So
things.
the question is, how fast can you bring that 11 life to the 0?
2 turns. Looks like 2 turns. Maybe Jiří's even counting if it's possible
Yeah.
now.
Because
3, 4, 5,
your
6,
opponent
7,
is stepped
8.
out.
It's 10. Jiří has 10 now.
Ah.
If he
Alright.
finds a creature that has more power, maybe, or some haste,
You
maybe.
meant Vojtěch is 10.
True. I meant Jiří has 10 damage.
Yeah, 10 damage.
That's what I was talking about, because Satya is 3, Failure is 2, that's 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9, 10 as a copy. 4th L lingers.
And this,
That should be the game. That should be the game. Because
is
that's
enough.
2 more damage.
Now the counting comes on.
True.
We will see something like Handshake probably when the counting is done.
Yeah, but
Let's see if there is something.
But it looks like the most probable end of this game is just a win for Vojtěch, as he does have... win for Jiří,
Win for
because he
Jiří.
does have lethal.
So we brought the Muxus to the feature match to see some crazy goblin
Action, but
shenanigans.
yeah, we did not
But in the end,
really... Now there is another
we've tried so hard,
copy.
but in the end, it doesn't
True,
even matter.
and it's
And that's
the
the handshake we've been
game.
talking about.
Okay, that has been quite dominant performance from
Yes.
Jiří. Although he did lose a game. He did lose one game very easily. Now, honestly, I expected a little more from Vojtěch, but let's be real. He
This matchup.
tried. He tried.
And as I was talking, this matchup with this pretty disadvantageous for the goblin side of the
Absolutely.
table.
Any kind of, interaction heavy deck that also has pressure is just brutal.
Which is why we wanted to bring it to the table. You cannot see
Okay.
these decks most of the times.
Now we can see Vojtěch choosing the sack, or getting the sack.
Getting the sack
And
because
Jiří
he's
choosing the
choosing
booster.
the mystery booster.
True. So yeah, he got some dice, he got a deck box, and
Let's be
then-
honest, you get pretty stuff
Yeah,
from our
it's
sponsors.
some nice stuff. It's some absolutely nice stuff from Car Market and Ultimate Guard
Nayada.
and Nayada Gaming. They got a nice chunk of it. Now we will see what Jiří gets in the deck. Sorry, in the
booster.
pack. Because we ask our players to just open it.
But before we get to that, don't worry. These 2 matches that we've brought to you, the Muxus and the Flaps, It was just to spice the start of our commentating.
Yeah.
But the next matches are going to be the top tables,
Absolutely.
bringing you the best of the dual commander action that you are waiting for.
So you can probably expect a lot of Deadpool, a lot of Atraxa,
Yeah.
Aragorns,
I
these
wouldn't be
kind of
surprised.
things. We will see a lot of it, most likely.
Most likely. But most likely we are going to see what is being opened.
I
in
would
that
like to see
mystery
that. We
booster.
should see the mystery booster opened. Okay, we are not going to see the mystery booster open. Maybe we will see a live action of it.
Yeah.
So right now we will just do a quick transition for us, and there will be the interview with the winner of this
Yes.
game, Jiří Obraz.
And welcome back. We are here with the winner of the round, Jiří Obraz. First, congratulations
Thank
for the
you.
win. Well, from our perspective, it seemed quite easy because, as we were talking, the match was quite advantageous for the Satya because the Satya could have a lot of counter spells and a lot of interaction with the Muxus. Tell me, before the matches, how confident were you that you are going to win against this deck you don't see that much around?
I was pretty confident because in this particular matchup, he's relying a lot on Muxus.
Yeah.
So without him, he has some underpowered creatures from my point of view.
Yeah.
And I have very strong spells against creatures. So the only thing I need to do is avoid Blood Moon, as we saw in the second game.
Yeah, I'll get to
Not
that.
to misplay, as we saw in the second game. And the counter the Muxus. So
Yes, you've mentioned the Blood Moon. I'll get to it, but in the first game, I've seen that you put the Stifle in your graveyard. If you remember the play, can you tell me what was the decision behind that? Because you could easily stifle the Muxus effect going.
yes, I could, but I had another 2 counter spells in hand, so I
Yeah.
didn't need that.
There was no need, there was already
Yes.
enough gas to answer the Muxus. Totally understandable. The Blood Moon situation thus was really interesting. We have seen the Blood Moon that was in the opening hand, and we thought, well, what is going to happen? We've seen the first non-basic land, second non-basic land, then the Blood Moon going on, and we were like, what is going on? And then came the island and the Fable, and we thought, okay, the Blood Moon doesn't matter. Why came the Scoop? What was that misplay?
The scoop was due to Pyroblast on the that for free blue,
Yes,
which I obviously didn't expect at all.
The enduring curiosity.
Because I could have kept the token
okay.
to generate me colored mana, and I chose a bit riskier path, but that
Yes.
for free is very good against him.
Understandable.
So I chose not to save that token, and it's backfired terribly.
Yeah, but it happens. But in the end, you've managed to win. The last game, the army of the givers of runes gave you some runes in the end. Runes
Yeah.
that meant the end for the Muxus player. What was, I guess that you've been mulliganing the last game,
No, my
No.
opponent did.
the opponent. Did you know about the giver from the start and went from that game plan straight, or did it just occur
I
on
had
the way?
him in opening hand. I just didn't want to play him, or
Yeah.
I didn't keep the untapped white source of mana,
Yes.
so I couldn't
And
play
you
him.
also have been answering the goblins that
Yes.
were coming on the way, just hoping for it. that when the situation is settled and clear, just to put the giver and make sure that everything is protected properly.
Yes. And the plan was, well, it's not a main plan to copy the giver. It was like the only target for it, so I just used that. So, but when you have 2 or 3 of them, it's pretty much impossible to kill any of my creatures.
We've seen, and we've also mentioned that if any goblin would come to the battlefield hoping to block, they cannot, because the protection of the red, you could just say every creature you want is unblockable to the current state of the board. So it seemed from our perspective like a pretty good win.
Yeah, it's well, I wouldn't be even using that for unblockable because Satya has menace. It's problem to block. His creatures were small, so I would just trade them and limit their number on board. So.
In one moment, you were tapped out, and the opponent had the City of Traitors, and he just played the Rites of Flame, tapped City of Traitors for 2 mana, played land, and played the Muxus again, but you had the Force of Will. How much you think that the Force of Will decided the game in this case?
Absolutely, it was the main factor, so because without the Force, I wouldn't be able to tap out and put a lot of pressure on him. So with it, it was sure you play it, you will spend a lot of resources.
You didn't have to be worried about tapping out, creating pressure, and that he somehow would manage to play the Muxus. All right, pretty nice. Where you have been given, you have chosen the mystery booster, but we have signed kind of rule that we want the boosters to be opened for our viewers. So right now you've brought the booster to our interview, and let's see if there is something interesting. We've seen the triplets, we've seen Kolagan's command on the last booster from the first game. So just go through the cards, and if there's something interesting, we can like try to show it to the camera.
Okay.
I'll be the one providing the useful and interesting information. Right now, going through the comments, seeing probably nothing interesting. One of the older Flame Tank Kavu.
It would be nice for draft.
And we are getting to the rare slot, which is level up card. And it's quite nice. We've got Kargan Dragonlord, which is card I also haven't seen a lot. And if you are familiar, Chaos Warp. Chaos Warp is pretty nice answer, probably not in the Dual Commander, but in some other formats. So you're taking it to home, you can probably change it with something interesting. But right now, this would be the end of the interview. We are having more interesting matches right now from the top tables. We are hoping that you will do well in the tournament. Probably we are going to see you again. And we are right now going to the 10-minute pause. So take some time, take some bio break, and we'll be coming next after some time.